What is going on, Player Profiler Nation? This is Seth Dewald, the editor at PlayerProfiler.com, here today to give you 8 players to buy in Dynasty as free agency unfolds. These players are flying under the radar. So without further ado, here we go. Player number 1 I want to talk about, and perhaps my number 1 buy in all of Dynasty right now, is Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney, we are not too far removed from Darnell Mooney being a 1,000-yard wide receiver. In 2021, Mooney earned 140 targets. That ranks number 11 amongst wide receivers. Unfortunately, the last 2 seasons, Mooney earned barely 60 targets in each season in 2022 and 2023. Now Mooney gets a new lease on life in Atlanta, receiving a 3-year contract worth up to $39 million with $26 million guaranteed. And an NFL franchise, no matter how dumb you think they are, they're not giving a wide receiver $26 million guaranteed without a plan for success. Mooney automatically slots in as the wide receiver 2 in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins under center. We know that new offensive coordinator Zach Robinson comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, which is where Kirk Cousins' former coach Kevin O'Connell comes from. Therefore, this should be a seamless transition for Cousins. Now, Mooney, it is true that he might need some time to acclimate to the system, but there's no question that a team such as the Falcons, like I said, doesn't guarantee $26 million to a receiver who has barely produced over 400 yards receiving over the past 2 seasons if they don't have a plan to unlock him in this offense. My guess is the Falcons viewed Darnell Mooney as a player who was not being utilized correctly in Chicago. He was not accurately being targeted deep down the field by Justin Fields. That's just a fact. And who's a quarterback that's great at targeting wide receivers deep down the field? That would be Kirk Cousins. This feels like a marriage made in heaven. And the best part of it all is that Darnell Mooney is going to be undervalued. I saw today, somebody sent me a trade. Somebody traded Darnell Mooney for a 4th-round rookie pick. I'm not saying Darnell Mooney's going to be that cheap, but he is going to be cheap. He's going to be on the cheaper end for a wide receiver that's going to make an impact as early as this year. My bold prediction is that Darnell Mooney is going to have 1,000 yards receiving in 2024. You let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm crazy or not. But I think Darnell Mooney, the contract that he got from Atlanta, makes him a screaming buy in Dynasty at his current value. The next player we're going to talk about is Roshan Johnson. The Bears added DeAndre Swift in free agency. This is true. And it is true that Swift is coming off the best rushing performance of his career. In 2023, Swift rushed for over 1,000 yards, 1,049 yards on 229 carries. His receiving volume was down. He caught 39 passes for 214 yards. And it is also true that if the Bears draft Caleb Williams, which it looks like they're going to do, that will mean a lot more receptions out of the backfield for a running back like DeAndre Swift. Swift is going to be a weapon for the Chicago Bears. That's why they signed him. However, there are some drawbacks and limitations to Swift's games. For starters, he's not great in pass protection. According to PFF, Swift ranked well below average in pass protection, 48.5 grade. Roshan Johnson ranked much better in pass protection according to PFF. In fact, he was the number 14 running back amongst qualified running backs in pass pro. Secondly, Swift has never played a full season in the NFL. In 2020, Swift was a rookie. He played in 13 games. In 2021, Swift missed 4 games with an AC joint sprain. In 2022, Swift missed 3 games with an ankle sprain. In 2023, Swift missed 1 game due to an illness, but battled an ankle injury late in the season. The point is that Johnson is still going to get opportunities in this up-and-coming Chicago Bears offense, and his price just dropped in Dynasty. When and if Swift misses a game or 2 due to injury, which is likely, then Johnson could assume a good majority of the touches, especially on passing downs, because we know Khalil Herbert's not great in pass protection either. This is the exact kind of opportunities we want in Dynasty. And for all those reasons and more, Roshan Johnson is still a buy because his Dynasty price just dropped. I understand if trading for Bryce Young makes you sick to your stomach, makes you want to throw up in your mouth, makes you want to dunk your head in a toilet. I don't know. But I'm here to tell you it's okay, and that you should really consider trading for Bryce Young in Dynasty, especially in a superflex league. The Panthers are going to do everything they can to support Bryce Young as their franchise quarterback. If you don't believe me, look what they've done through 2 days of free agency. First, they signed offensive guard Robert Hunt to a 5-year deal worth $100 million. They were willing to pay up to $100 million for a total contract for an offensive guard. Then they did it again. They signed another offensive guard in Damian Lewis, who they gave a 4-year, $53 million deal to. And then next, they traded for wide receiver Deontay Johnson, acquiring him from the Steelers. And this might not seem like a ton in a vacuum, but the Panthers made the decision to draft Bryce Young number 1 overall. It was obvious that the offensive line and playmakers were not up to par, and things can only get better for the second-year quarterback. His size does concern me. I'm not going to lie to you, but he is going to be a starting quarterback in this league next year, probably for at least 2 more seasons. And Carolina, like I said, is desperate for him to succeed. For all those reasons and more, Bryce Young is a dynasty buy right now. Let's do it. Let's check it off the bingo card. Let's talk about Mike Gesicki. Fantasy gamers might have been burned by Mike Gesicki before, but there's no doubt that the news of Gesicki signing with the Bengals should have turned some heads. The problem is, I don't think it did. Sure, a 1-year deal worth $3.25 million doesn't necessarily draw attention, but think about the situation for a moment. We know Jamar Chase is going to be a featured target. That is a given. But think about the other options in the offense. T. Higgins could be traded out of town. By the time you watch this video, it's possible that T. Higgins is playing for another team. They've already had conversations with other teams about trading T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd is a free agent. If both or just one of those players leaves in free agency, that might make Gesicki the number 3, maybe the number 2 target in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Considering the tight end depth, I'd say Gesicki is worth trading for in Dynasty. Christian Kirk is up next. The Jaguars signed free agent wide receiver Gabriel Davis to a 3-year contract worth up to $39 million. Last season, Kirk was having a good season before tearing his groin in week 12. He missed the final 5 games of the season, but he was still able to put up 787 yards on 85 targets, catching 3 touchdowns. Without Ridley, Kirk becomes the focus of the Jaguars' passing attack with Evan Ingram, who's also a winner in this situation, and Dynasty gamers are likely not going to value him properly. Let's talk about the Tennessee backfield now with Taj Spears and Tony Pollard, and I understand the risk that comes with Taj Spears. It is true that Taj Spears has no ACL in one of his knees and is dealing with arthritis, much in the same way that Todd Gurley was dealing with a similar injury. It is also true that the Titans signed Tony Pollard, and many Dynasty gamers may want to pivot in that direction. However, I'm here to tell you that Taj Spears is the running back to acquire, and now you can get him at a discount. Spears served as the backup running back to Derrick Henry last season. During that time, Spears earned 70 targets out of the backfield, which ranked him number 9 amongst running backs in a part-time role. That's more targets than Tony Pollard received in a full-time role. Pollard ranked number 7 amongst running backs in snap share with 70.9% of snaps he was on the field for. And meanwhile, Spears ranked number 27 amongst running backs with a 52.9% snap share. With Tony Pollard entering the fold, Spears is going to have competition for his receiving work. There's no doubt about it. However, this doesn't spell the end for Spears. This is likely going to be a running back by committee with both running backs sharing time. Additionally, Spears proved to be much more efficient than Pollard last year in a number of metrics. These include yards per touch, yards created per touch, juke rate, and breakaway run rate. Both of these players are ranked outside of the top 100 in Keep Trade Cuts rankings, superflex rankings. Pollard is player number 106, RB 19 overall. Spears is player number 101, RB 18 overall. And at those prices, I'd be willing to buy both players, but I would prefer Spears over Pollard. Let me know what you think in the comments. The last player we're going to talk about today is Antonio Gibson. Maybe a change of scenery will be the very thing that unlocks Antonio Gibson. Gibson is currently ranked as the RB 48, player number 197, according to Keep Trade Cuts Superflex Dynasty rankings. At that point, I am willing to take a chance on the athletic pass-catching running back whose only competition appears to be Ramondre Stevenson. Last season, while ranking number 11 in snap share and number 22 in opportunity share amongst running backs, Stevenson was extremely inefficient. He was number 38 in yards created per touch amongst running backs. Meanwhile, Antonio Gibson, in limited opportunities, was number 2 amongst running backs in that same metric. The truth is that Gibson is the much more explosive running back in an offense that's begging for explosive playmakers. Gibson is the kind of player the Patriots desperately need and is likely going to have a significant role and has a real chance to beat out Ramondre Stevenson as the starting running back in 2024. So go buy him in Dynasty right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and until next time, let's keep grinding here. Stay tapped into Player Profiler all off season long for the latest news and notes, Dynasty buys, sells, rookie evaluations. We have it all here. So until next time, be good, everybody, and we'll see you later.